The latest Deloitte Football League table report is out, and Manchester United have dropped from 4th to 8th. Is this a future warning for the club, or do you think the men in suits who make the money decisions have got it all under control? In the report's 29-year history, it's the worst ranking for Manchester United. We are also going to touch on what's going on the pitch. Still a lot of positivity out there amongst fans, especially heading into this Arsenal game. So please get your comments, your opinions in the live chat so we can discuss them throughout today's video. Also, smash that like button as well if you want to help support us. How are you?
I'm all right. Listen, when this money league table come out, I looked at it and I just worried about not just now, about the future. Listen, as I read it, laid bare are the financial implications of failure of no European football. Clear as daylight as far as I'm concerned. Serious implications going forward, and not just for this season. I really, really worry that if the failure of no European competition, Manchester United, teams above will shoot ahead, but United will be in trouble.
Yeah, it does look like teams are shooting ahead above Manchester United, which we will get into some of the details throughout today's video, so you can have a chew on it yourself with your own opinions. And this report is coming from The Athletic, and United have fallen from 4th to 8th place. This is the first time the club has ever dropped out of the top 5. The total revenue, the club reported a turnover of 666.5 million for the 24-25 season. While this is technically a record turnover figure for the club, it was insufficient to keep pace with global rivals and domestic peers.
Well, global club we are, sponsorship, you name it, the lot. We was right at the top and everything, and Kieran is right. Technically, a record turnover, £660 million, but it's not generating the profit. You know, we know how much money we have to pay out on transfers and everything else like that, you know. And one of the things I look at, money going out of the club, especially when we're not generating a massive profit, is the Glazer money. That's going to go out at some point next season. So for me,
the Glazer money.
The Glazer money.
You mean the dividends?
It's the Glazer money. I call it the Glazer money. People out there call it the Glazer money.
Their own personal ATM machine.
It's their pocket money. I just look at it. The sustainability risk is one of the things I look at. 1.29 billion in debt. So for me, reliant on cost cutting, that's what we've seen. Yeah. Is that the right way forward? And losing any European money is going to be massive this year. To go into next year, I mean, them sponsors, they are not going to be happy.
Yeah, just going back into the report to give you some more details and facts, and it's for the first time United is only the 4th highest earning club in England, trailing behind the likes of Liverpool in 5th, City in 6th, and Arsenal in 7th. And the broadcaster revenue as well, with missing out on the likes of Champions League football. The primary driver for the fall was a 45.4 million drop in broadcaster revenue income. This is the direct cost of failing to qualify for the Champions League for the 24-25 season. So I want to know your thoughts. Are you actually confident, though, with what you're seeing on the pitch? Who's actually leading the team now in Michael Carrick, that we can actually qualify for the Champions League and secure them places before the end of the season? Oh, in the final game, I'd be happy with that.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
I think everyone will be happy just qualifying. Doesn't matter how we do it, just get there. I look at that £45 million TV revenue loss by not being in the Champions League. You also have to add in the match day revenue. I mean, if we was playing Real Madrid, for instance, imagine how much the tickets this club would charge. Right up there. I've seen it before. But the sales in everything, what they do, shirts, you name it, the lot, that loss is massive. And then you just look at it and say to yourself, sponsorship, there's your major problem. Losing sponsorship money for Champions League. Bad enough one year, but going into the second year, then no Champions League football. You have to say to yourself, is there a decline?
I also want to get into some facts as well, and it's what you might call the Adidas penalty. And if the club fails to reach the Champions League for the 26-27 season, the 30% reduction clause in the Adidas deal will trigger, costing the club an additional £22 million plus per year.
There's a massive, massive commercial decline. And you talk about the Adidas penalty. What we don't know, and maybe it'll come out at another point, is other commercial deals. How much will they lose? What penalties clauses have they got in? So you're looking at it, a club what's reliant on cost cutting to stay in the within the PSR rules. Will there be more cost cutting? But me as a United fan, I look at it, cost cutting can only go on so much, and then you have to rise and get up there. But with all this cost cutting, there's going to be disappointment on the pitch. Where's the money for the transfers and all that? That's how I look at it. The money will decline. And we are a global club. We're supposed to be at the top of the tree. And lots of fans out there just see decline. And the commercial decline, that is a big worry as far as I'm concerned.
Like I said at the start of the show, is it a future warning, or do you think the men in suits have actually got it all under control? And to give a little bit of balance on today's video, you're looking at the actual profit margins, and for the 3 months ending September the 30th, 2025, United posted an operating profit of £13 million. This was a massive swing from the £7 million loss in the same period the year before.
Means absolutely nothing to me, £13 million profit.
This all due to a lot of the cost-cutting redundancies. I think there was 450 in total within the football club.
Yeah, within the football club, the cost-cutting, reduced it massively, okay? But then you're going to lose massively by not qualifying for Champions League football, money coming in. So it's one thing's laughing at the other. As I see it, I might be totally wrong, but it just seems to me one thing's laughing at the other. You're doing all the cost cutting, right? But you're failing to sustain it on the pitch, where by winning on the pitch and qualifying for these major tournaments, the revenue comes in. And like I say, I go back to it, paying out debt all the time. That does not help. And if you're not bringing in the money from the Champions League to get these players, okay, and the loss of commercial to go out and get these players, it seems to me like, now I might be wrong. You tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. It just seems to me that we've got to borrow more money to go and buy these players, which then puts us in more debt. And if you're not getting the money in, it just seems like a mad circle. Debt. Let's go and get a player. More debt. Well, you've got to get it right on the pitch. And that's the challenge this year. And my God, when I look at it as a whole, everything with this, like money table and the pressure to get in the Champions League, Michael Carrick has got one hell of a job to do.
Yeah, and you're just looking at it, Man United, even when they've not been in the Champions League in recent years or past years, because of how strong the brand was, it always propped the football club up and drove it forward. But because of the failure and mismanagement now at this football club for many a year now, it's like it can't prop it up now. That brand isn't as strong worldwide as it used to be. And there's a lot of sponsors out there, or shall I say companies, who'd be thinking about sponsoring Manchester United. They're wary because they don't know the short term or the long term of this football club on the pitch. Yeah,
but on a positive side, right, you know, from a global and domestic, you know, look at it, you have to say to yourself, if United go on a run on the pitch, it changes everything. It changes the dynamics. If United look as though like they're going to qualify for Champions League, imagine, right, the publicity and everything around the world. Everyone will be just going mad. Everyone will be mad for Man United again. That's all it takes. 2 good months of football, getting the right results, getting in the right position, right, and getting ready for next year, right? Champions League football, before the end of the season, there'll be a queue at this door, a massive queue from sponsors. But that's all it takes because of how global we are, and we're right up there. So it just takes Michael Carrick to get this team playing football, getting the results, and everything turns round, and the outlook for next year looks rosy. But it's on a proper knife edge, a big risk.
Keith Stitt in our chat says, impossible for an organisation, to save its way out of trouble. Stephanie Griffiths says, men in suits are not filling me with any confidence.
No, they can't fill you with any confidence. You look at the 2 years, promises here, promises there, managers made promises, they were rescinded, players, you name it, the lot. But fans, we was promised loads. And I've said 2 more years maximum for INEOS, promising the fans, promising we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're best in class. They've got maximum 2 years, because at this rate, right, failure will drive them out. Failure will drive them out. If this continues, no Champions League football, the results don't continue on there, we don't get what we believe we deserve, then INEOS will have failed. So maximum 2 years is 4 years. You can't sustain that. You can't sustain the losses going on and on. And when you look at the commercial revenue and everything else like that, you've got the warning. Adidas, 30% if we fail. Now, how big will that get? And how much debt will we end up having in the next 2 years? Failure. Like I say, the serious implications going forward here.
Volks 10 from our members club says, young kids aren't supporting the club now. Either, lads, come 10 years down the line, the club won't be making any money from fans. I mean, let me know where you're actually watching us from around the world, because this is a global fan base, Manchester United. And have you seen any changes with any of the younger generation now stop supporting or choosing to support Manchester United, supporting other teams? I'm not really seeing that where we're from here in Manchester at the moment. You're seeing a few more City shirts out and about on the streets, more so than you did, let's say, 15, 20 years ago. But I'm not really seeing a swing just yet with any of the younger generation, and rightly so. There's
no swing. Absolutely no swing. This young generation, right, you have to understand, right, it's your life. You pass it on. It's an inheritance. You're passing it on.
Yeah.
Your kids are going to grow up. If you're a United fan, you're going to grow up. And there's more United fans around the world. I see on a match-by-match, every time, different match, one game, fortnight later, a week later, it doesn't matter. I see kids and speak to parents, right, that they're telling me, this is Josh, this is Billy, this is Sarah, right? It's their first game. They've come from California, right? They're coming from Ireland, right? They're coming from, like, say, Newcastle. They're bringing the kid for the first time, okay? That's what United fans do, right? Grandparents bring the grandkids. Parents bring their kids. It's a weekly basis with Manchester United. Every time there's a football match here, there's kids who have never been. It just continues and continues, right? But let me tell you, I've seen a lot of kids come here, especially in the last 18 months, absolutely depressed, and I've done my best to cheer them up. And there's people out there, right, who will vouch for that, because, you know, I've seen comments where they've said, I brought my kid, or, you know, seen Tony and he's cheered us up and all that. There's nothing better than seeing kids, and it is a regular thing here. And United know that, but that's not where they get the money from on a match day. That's not what they're really worried about. Yes, they will increase it as time goes on, the match day revenue in that, but that's not the main source of income.
Yeah, it was something I was actually going to get onto at some point in today's video, but Richie's already brought it up. He says, bet we go to Saudi for an exhibition game to raise money at some point. I think they were looking at the last reports that I read in that weekend where the FA Cup round was to be played next month in February.
Well, I've had deep thoughts about this. I've had deep thoughts about this Saudi thing. And I'm telling you, this is how I think. And me and Kieran are going to have more discussions on it. I'm thinking this channel just won't even comment on it. We won't do an aftermatch or anything. No. That's my thinking. I feel really bad, because look at what Carrick's job is to get us in the Champions League, and the last thing he needs to do is take players over there. I think this is absolutely ridiculous, considering the situation Manchester United are in and what the job Michael Carrick has got to do, to go out there for photo ops just to go and get a few quid. Imagine if we don't qualify, right, for Champions League, okay, because of 1 point. And when we come home from this game and we fail to get a point in the game after all that travelling, right, that junket, as I see it, could have cost Manchester United. He needs everything given to him, not this. So going over to Saudi, as far as I'm concerned, right at this minute, I'm torn between it as a channel, as a United fan, and I think a lot of other United fans are out there. So there's a debate going to go on with yous, with us, over time. That's just my comment on it now. There's no yes or no what we're going to do. It's just a feeling, thinking, the way forward.
No, it's embarrassing.
I know it's embarrassing.
That Manchester United are having to do that because of the incompetence and failure through decision-making throughout the club in the last 10 to 15 years. And like you say, Michael Carrick should be given everything he can to possibly succeed this season. And I don't think going over to Saudi is going to do him, or specifically the players, any good. I don't see what positives come out of that. Imagine going over there, you're playing against whatever teams he's going to possibly play against. If it does happen, and we get one or two players injured. Well, key players like a Bruno Fernandez or an Mbumo.
Well, how ridiculous it is. They've got to give Michael Carrick everything, okay? Going over there, as far as I'm concerned, right, serious implications could happen. Not just for the money or anything like that, but it's only a few quid, right? In the big picture, it's a few quid. But Michael Carrick is being told, this is what you've got to do. Turn it round, get us Champions League. This is what we want. And then they're going to take him over there. It is a massive embarrassment. And the publicity around it will be pure negative. I don't see anything positive from it at all. And if you're talking professional decisions, people who know what they're doing and everything, and they're trying to sneak this in and squeeze it in, then they should really come out with a statement and say, we don't need this at this moment. We don't need this commercial avenue. We've got bigger things to do. We need to concentrate on things back home. Keep them at home, rest, nice training sessions and all that. Not this. So we're going to have that discussion. And further down the line, we're going to make a decision, but based with you on what you think our opinions are and where we should go with this. Because I'm totally embarrassed by it, but from a club point of view, it's an absolute disgrace, to be honest.
I think you use the term professional decision-making in what you was just mentioning. And with us talking about Champions League football, Michael Carrick, etc., I'm playing devil's advocate here. But a question to every single one of you out there, and I want to know if you agree or you don't agree, but I want to know your reasons behind it. If Michael Carrick does finish in the Champions League places this season, does the likes of Omar Berrada and Jason Wilcox then deserve some credit in that, in making the right decision in putting Carrick in charge for the remaining games of the season?
No, because listen, is it the right, is it the wrong decision? Listen, United are just going to play on the front foot. And what it is, they've appointed Michael Carrick. It could have been Scholes. It could have been Solskjaer. It could have been Van Nistelrooy. So there was options, but what they wanted was an ex-player. And that's what they're trusting in, because basically they haven't got a clue. They didn't have a plan. It's come upon them. They've not been able to find a manager. They didn't look at it. For me, they get no credit whatsoever, because it's them people what have put us in this mess. We're in this mess because of their decisions. So one good decision, which really, and I think we'll all agree on it. If Michael Carrick gets us Champions League football, then it's a lucky appointment. A lucky appointment that Michael Carrick was the man what was put in there, and he's been able to guide us through. So all the praise should go to Michael Carrick and his team, not to the people what appointed him.
Yeah, a few of you is already getting involved with that with your own opinions. Hearts in Europe says, no, they don't deserve credit, not until they get a lot of stuff right. Eric the King from our members club says Carrick gets top 4. That lot have been lucky. I mean, we want to see some sort of sustainable strategy, whereas the strategy with Ruben Amorim only lasted 14 months. I certainly won't be giving any of them in the background any praise. It'll be all going down to Michael Carrick and the players for me. Then after that, you need to then see a sustainable strategy for the next 12, 18, 2 years after that, where you see Manchester United progressing on the pitch. Then I might look back on it and look at the people like Jason Wilcox, Omar Berrada, and then possibly factor in them with some credit in what we've seen.
Well, if you look at the implications going forward on it all, whether it's financial, on the team or anything like that, right? And you look at the decisions, it's like going from one crisis to another, okay? We're all here as fans living in hope that Michael Carrick can turn it round, especially after the City game. We're still up there. We're still all, I'll tell you what, I think we're all excited waiting for that game against Arsenal, because our belief as a United fan is that we can get something out of the game, whether it's a draw or a win, based on a lot of things, which we'll go in over the next few days. But it's just one crisis after another. That's what we seem to be getting. And if there's no European football, it's a major crisis. But Michael Carrick, right, it's all down to him if we get European football. But it's not down to him if we fail, if he fails to get it, okay? Because really, he's in a win-win position. He's going to try and do his best. He's got a team there around him, and he's been told to do a job. Well, it's one crisis after another, and who's made that crisis? Your Wilcox, your Vivell, Omar Berrada, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Nothing to do with Carrick. Get out there, Michael. Do your best, and we're all behind you. Fail or succeed, we'll be cheering.
Urban Bar says, only time MUFC is truly back is when we are fighting for titles and have actively reduced our debt, which is currently stood at record levels of over £1 billion, is it?
Well, the debt has serious implications. We know that. The debt actually put Glazers under massive financial pressure, where they were sort of might be tipping over the edge, having to repay it back and everything. So they ended up selling some of the shares, and that's why Ratcliffe's there. And the situation, and this is why I give this situation about Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS, they've got maximum 2 years, because another year without Champions League football, imagine what that debt's going to what that debt's going to be. Where is the money to purchase the players what are needed to get us Champions League football, to get us challenging for the league and everything, okay? You've got to pay big money. Well, that big money's not there. Jim Ratcliffe's not going to put any more money in. Do you expect the Glazers to put money in? Of course you don't, right? So what happens to that 1.29 billion debt? I look at it this way. It gets bigger and bigger, the interest payments, and then you've got players. What we're doing with players, we're buying players on the never. We pay so much 1 year, so much here. It's like on the never. It's debt. Debt. The debt keeps getting bigger. So there is massive implications here, right? And this table where we're at, where will we be then? But I'll tell you something now. I just look at it, and I'm serious here. Maximum 2 years, INEOS, because then they've had 4 years. 4 years of promises and made this club worse than when they first got in. That's how I see it.
Yeah, he's got OGC Nice up for sale as well, hasn't he? So Jim Ratcliffe went in there in 2019, bought it for £50 million, if my memory serves me correct. He put it up for £150 million, but he's had to reduce that considerably to £127 million in recent weeks. Can't get rid of it at the moment.
He'd be lucky to get his £50 million back. Okay, football in France, finance. You know, you look at the Premier League here, it's all about the TV. That money keeps rising each year, what goes to the clubs and everything. Okay, that's what's sustaining this Premier League. That's what's making it the biggest in the world. Okay, the French league, I think it's had 3 TV rights people, and now they haven't got any. There's no money coming in from the TV over there. No one's watching it.
Yeah.
So where he's going to get his 150 million, I don't know, because there is no money in French football. And you will see this summer, I am telling you now, you will see an exodus of French footballers.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because they want the money. And where is the money? It's here. It's here. But United haven't got the money.
So you were just talking before about another 2 years. So you think...
Maximum 2 years. Now get that in your head.
Yeah,
proper.
So
it's a maximum 2 years, right? But 1 more year of this, if it continues, right, the crowd itself, in my opinion, will get rid of Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Not a bad shout. What do you think? Do you think they actually deserve another 2 years to try and turn things around from its current state? Do you think we are actually improving on the pitch and also inside the football club as well?
No, what I'm saying is, if we don't get Champions League football, right, this season and the following season, well, we're not improving, are we? We're not doing well. We're not doing well on the pitch.
Do you
right?
think...
But what is happening, the gap's getting bigger.
Yeah.
And it's more difficult to put it round. And the only way to clear it, right, is to stay within the PSR rules. Cost cutting. There we go. That's how it's going to be. But there will be no profit from, all right, 660 million, technically a record turnover last time, right? But you won't get that. You won't get no profit.
Yeah, but even with that the clubs around us and clubs around us in Europe, their profits are increasing way above that. And that's why Man United have dropped from 4th to 8th, which is the lowest in the 29-year history of that report. And we can't keep going into transfer windows like most of us are, including myself, thinking, right, we need 1 or 2 midfielders this summer. We need a centre-back or, another forward player. They're not going to be able to sustain that sort of actual outlay like they've been doing in the past 2 to 3 seasons either. And especially when you take yourself back to the summer, £105 million of that was actually used as debt onto the football club.
Well, it's this scenario for people out there. How do you look at it if we don't qualify for Europe? Never mind Champions League. Europe, what will have to happen with these players? How many will have to go? Well, if you put a figure on it, say 5, 6 players have to go and 6 players have to be brought in, then you have to say to yourself, how much is that going to cost? Do we need more than 5 or 6 players? We might not get rid of that many, but we might need 5 or 6 players. We don't qualify. We've got players, what contracts are running out anyway. But if people out there think we need 6 players, okay, 2, maybe 3 players will leave. But can we get rid of the others? Does it bring any money in? But to bring in 5 or 6 players, if we fail to qualify for Champions League or Europe, how much money do you think that's going to be? Average players, I said it last season, I said it in the summer, to buy a good average player, right, is 60, 70 million pounds. And people were laughing at me. Look what we paid. Just look what we paid, okay? They're good players, right? But if you want the best, you're going way over 100 million pounds. That's what's happening. Now, where's that money coming from? Times that. Times 3 top players and 2 good players. Now, that's what we need in the summer. Yeah. That's what we need in the summer.
You look at, I think, since they've come in, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, INEOS, whatever you want to call them, I'm sure there's a few choice words out there in the description, but I think they've reduced the overall wage bill by 45%. Now, if you're looking at the current squad, what's needed in certain positions still, no Champions League football for next season. I hope not. I hope we qualify for it, obviously. But you'll be looking more at rough diamonds as players, more so than players who are plugging in play, so to speak.
You're not going to get the top players, okay? You're just not going to get them. Yeah. Yes, we've been identified with certain midfielders and that. I mean, I've said it loads of times. The 100 million for these players. No, that's not on. They're not top players. They're good players. And they'll help Manchester United. There's no 2 ways about it, right? But at some point, we have to go and strike out there. But you can only strike and get the top player, right, to pay his wages and everything, right, is if we get Champions League football on a regular basis and the money keeps coming in.
But it's
that's the problem.
But it's the right thing what they've done, though. And you've got to look at it from this way, that some of the wages that Manchester United have been paying out just for average or crap players has been absolutely insane. So that's been needed to get under control, and it looks like they've done that, surely.
The whole club needed to get under control. This is what we was hoping from INEOS, but that's not worked out. The whole club isn't under control. Yes, the finances are under control. That's what they were here for. I said it 2 days ago. First priority, money. That's their first priority. Well, it's not our first priority, is it? Right. Well, what's going to be this summer's priority? Money again. No Champions League football. First priority, INEOS, money. Now, will they carry on cost cutting? That's why I say to you, these people running this football club have got a time limit. And that time limit, right, is dependent on turning this club round, right, and getting us in the Champions League where the money is. This report, where Kieran stated at the beginning with Deloitte's, right, tells you we're falling down, how far we've fallen down. And it'll only get worse.
A bit of news, what I want to get into on the pitch, what I did see from Rob Dawson from ESPN. I mean, you take it with a pinch of salt, whether you think he's trustworthy or not, but I think it's worth a conversation. And he says, Man United are planning talks with Bruno Fernandez about his future ahead of the World Cup, with club bosses poised to tell him they want to keep him at Old Trafford for at least 1 more year. We've already seen Bruno Fernandez come out in the last 2 to 3 months about his future at Man United, specifically about last season.
just a pure guess, that. It's just him. As I see it, that's just a pure guess. There will be talks with players and their agents, okay, over time. Right now, I very much doubt that they've suddenly gone, oh, Bruno Fernandez, let's get him in. Let's just get him in. There will be a sequence of events where players look, where they've got to turn around and plan for the future. Okay, it's as simple as that. So Bruno Fernandez is just throwing that name in there. There will be players looking at the future. There will be meetings done. But right now, I very much doubt that Manchester United have suddenly turned the light on and gone, do you know what? We'll get Bruno in. What, Bruno on his own? I don't think so. This is Rob Dawson doing what he does and what most journalists do, trying to fill in a day of no news.
Yeah, a lot of you still getting involved. Keep getting your opinions and questions in, because we'll discuss them throughout today's video. I did also see another one with Carrick has made a point of speaking to certain individuals whose futures seemed uncertain. Kobbie Mainoo, Patrick Dorgu and Joshua Zirkzee have all been told to focus on United and their immediate future.
Well, then that goes back to what you've just spoke about, Bruno. Focus on the immediate future.
Yeah.
Don't come in here worrying about your wages and your contracts and all that. We've got a priority. So you as a player should be concentrating on getting results on the pitch. Don't be mithering us about your future contracts. Nah. These players the same. One thing only to concentrate on. Get on that pitch and get it sorted out and turn this club round. Don't be coming in here when we're in this position sorting out a contract. We'll sort your contracts out. Let's see how you play, son. You put the effort in.
Just like to thank you all for joining us today, getting involved with your opinions and questions in the chat, and the community poll that I did actually put up earlier on about, do you think Manchester United will qualify for the Champions League for next season? Yes, 59%, no, 41%. So it's not too far off on the balance. Just as I say that, Ray Carl Brown has jumped in from our members club with a super chat. Much appreciated, mate. It says, we're praying for results on the pitch. That's only thing that will save us. These clowns are not bothered about winning, which will generate the cash.
Glazers aren't bothered about winning. Okay, the Glazers are bothered about, and always have been bothered about, getting in the Champions League, because that's where the cash is. Winning trophies and all that, that's not their priority. Okay, but these clowns, as you call them, right, INEOS, they've got to get Champions League. Jim Ratcliffe, he will get absolutely destroyed if he fails year on year over the next 2 years. He will get absolutely destroyed. I've no doubt about it. No doubt whatsoever. He's failed at Nice. Kieran mentioned it before. He's failed at Nice. He's put it up for 150 million, bought it for 50, right? What's he?
He's had to lower it as well.
Well, he's had to lower it, and he'll lower it and lower it and lower it, right? Everyone's looking round at that French league, right? 127 million, 150. Pulling me pants down. No one's having it. And he's just about to get a reality check, right? And I think he's got a reality check about how tough it is with this club. Just walking in here thinking I'm the big I. Well, he's had a sucking. I put people in place, people to move this club forward. And we've not moved forward. We've not moved forward. Okay? It's in the balance here. I'm telling you now. It's in the balance which way we go, right, with these players and these performances and the results. You know, we get 2-3 good results, bang, we're up there. Okay? Then there's a fight on. But if we get 2-3 bad results, hey, there's trouble, massive turnaround in, like, hope, shall I say, how we're all going to feel as football fans. But as this club, INEOS and everything, if we get 2 or 3 bad results, they will just look at the end of the season and go, how are we going to get out of this mess? And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And then everyone will be saying, you're all clowns. Yeah. You just don't, everybody. The media, you're all clowns. You don't know what you're doing, okay? You've sacked a manager halfway through the season. You put Carrick in place, okay? You had a first great game. We had a little bit of a bounce. That's great, but then it went pear-shaped. You couldn't turn it around. You didn't know what to do. Well, what were the people behind Carrick's training, coaching staff like? Well, buffoons, aren't they? They're just buffoons. Because we're in a situation, and it's buffoonery.
Sorry, did you just say Carrick's coaching staff are biffing?
Behind Carrick and his coaching staff. The people look at Jason Wilcox, thinks he's a coach, getting involved. Other people getting involved.
Just like to thank you all for joining us today with your own opinions in the chat. Please continue it in the comment section. Support us as well by smashing that like button. First time watching, please subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow with another live chat, so get that notification on. You take care in the meantime, and we'll see you again soon. Much love to everyone out there and the support. Thank you.
Thank you.